Will you sign these when you get a chance?
What am I signing?
It's just the code of ethics for people that are on the panel.
Okay.
We don't have a secretary, so it's you.
Okay.
You've already signed. Okay.
Go ahead, I'll be ready by the time you need me.
Okay. All right. Thank you for being here this morning. Meeting to order at 9:02.
Okay, let us pray. Almighty and everlasting God, who preserves all things in heaven and earth, come and preside over these deliberations so that those that make the decisions may be guided by your wisdom. In Jesus' name, amen.
Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. This time, I'd like to adopt the agenda. So when he gets here, we'll introduce him to everybody. This time, I'd like to is written.
So move.
Mike,
Thank you for sending those back out so I could refresh my memory on them. I appreciate it.
okay. And all in favor? You in favor?
I don't remember reading them, so I can't really.
Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the board minutes for the call meeting of 10:15 as we amended them. Larry, second. All in favor? Lee?
Yes.
This time I'd like to do the treasurer's report.
I'd like to defer the treasurer's report till Dan gets here.
Okay. Jennifer, are you ready with the manager's report?
Okay. We will have an office closure of the POA office, December 25th through January 2nd. The moving date for the offices to the Harbor Club building is on December 29th and 30th. And we are going to be hiring a part-time event coordinator for the Harbor Club building.
Can you use a microphone? We can't hear. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Is it on? No.
Bottom.
Barbara.
Okay, can you hear
Thank
me?
you. Yes.
Okay.
Could you repeat what you said?
I just said that the office closure for the holiday is gonna be from December 25th through January 2nd. And then the moving date to the Harbor Club building is on the 29th and 30th. And that we are hiring a part-time event coordinator for the Harbor Club. So we will be putting that out on Indeed shortly. For the dates of March 1st through yesterday, we have POA dues in the amount of $3,824,266.62. And with non-dues, it is $381,943.97, which does not include marinas. We have for your consideration, or the library committee has not put in applications before. I have those applications so that you can approve them if you'd like to. They have been long existing. I can't really, it's hard for me to use a microphone and do my looking around. The first library committee person is Karen Stewart. She has been a part of the library committee for many years. Second is Margaret Hindley, same. And we've got Mary Hittner, as well as Julie Madston. All of those folks would like to be formally on the library committee because I don't think that they've been formally
Okay,
put into the minutes.
you need a motion?
I do.
So moved.
All in favor?
Okay,
Lee? Yes.
thank you. And on the adjudicatory panel, Van Williams has made his nomination and the panel has put him forward for approval by the board.
Move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
And I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about a retention policy. I have a couple ex-board members, Ann Simpson and Jim Klein, who I've reached out to that are willing to use the retention policy to help to remove a lot of files that we've been keeping for probably more than 25 years. As you guys know, smile. A little bit ago, the rent for the storage over at the Bridgeton Storage went more than double since 2017. So we brought all of those files into one of the offices in the POA and they need to be gone through and removed. They're very, very old. So anyway, I have some help for that. So retention policy, I've sent it out to you. I've just passed it out to you. It needs some work. It needs some more details. It needs like where it's going and who's going to be in charge of it, and will it be destroyed? Will it be retained? How long will it be retained? So if you guys could have some thoughts on that policy and we can tidy it up and we can put it on the website when you're ready. So that's there for you. What's that?
Eventually, I'd like to be after that.
Yes. Yes. Let's see.
Just real quickly, the only one that I would have a question about would be bank reconciliations, and it says say for 2 years, and I just want to ask Professor Lee here if that's
No,
long enough.
if we're gonna keep statements for 7, we should keep the reconciliation the same period of time.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Makes no sense to.
Reconciliations, it says on here to keep it for 2 years, and I asked Lee if that would be his recommendation, and he said he'd like to keep it the same as bank statements, which is 7 years.
Just a boilerplate policy that you're looking at. We can make any changes that you want.
That's just real quick, so.
Yep.
But I'll look it over. I'm sure Lee will too.
Okay.
That's the goal with this, is to look it over and come back later.
Look it over, take a look at who would be the responsible party,
Okay.
who would be identifying the materials, where the materials would be located, and how they'd be identified for destruction, and the record of destruction.
I'm gonna have one more question,
Okay.
which is, it says in here for 1 year, correspondence with customers, owners that are routine. Fine routine.
I don't know, again, this boilerplate that I got,
Okay.
it's not something that I made up.
Yep.
It's just something we can use for a tool.
Will do.
Um,
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the reserve study, we have that completed. The board is having a video call today at 1:30 with the reserve study engineer to ask further questions. The beacon, we were going to be meeting with the County Compass publishers. We were still waiting on quotes from them because we remember trying to dial that in to see if it would be less expensive if it had more ads. I sent a survey out last night, which takes less than a minute, as for the residents to participate. Did anybody see the survey that came out? Anybody do the survey?
Okay.
Okay. We'll leave that out for a little while and see what happens, and I'll send you guys the results of that survey. We have a shred day that we have organized for January 16th from 9 a.m. to 12 o'clock. It is going to be a donation per box. So if you have a bank box of things you want to shred, please come with your donation. And paving, I know that I'm looking at Walt right now. We're still waiting on a quote to have additional paving done this fiscal year at the golf course for the remaining golf carts, golf paths. The doggy way stations had a brief delay on bags. We had a lot of complaints and calls, but they are all stocked again. I just ask that people that have a dog that they're walking, just bring one bag just in case they're not stocked, because they come twice a month. So you guys need to just bring one bag. So just in case it's not stocked, have your bag in your pocket, because it's not gonna be our fault if there aren't any bags. For Thanksgiving at the point, they had a really good day. They made over $4,200 in sales, which was great. And put this in here. This is a U.S. Marshal Service gentleman apprehended somebody in the community with the use of our cameras. So we were able to go back on the cameras, use the license plate reading. I didn't tell you this because it happened yesterday. And they apprehended somebody that was actually out of Texas that they were looking for a long time, didn't know exactly where he was, but we helped with that. Let's see. So several events have taken place last week in the Harbor Club. We had the grand opening on Friday night. We had an open house on Saturday from 10 to 12. And we had the parade that took place and ended up at the Harbor Club. Santa was in the lobby. And then we had a flotilla on Saturday night also, and then the choral concert was on Monday. And everybody that I've spoken with has rave reviews of the space. I wanted to give you guys something to look at here. This is a door mount option that Will has presented us with, because people are having to carry things through those doors and they automatically lock. So he wants you to consider that we could add these to some of the doors, not all. They're inexpensive, but they would do the trick. I don't know how you feel about that. We can talk about it.
I've sent this information to the Harbor Club Utilization Committee and asked them to give me input on it. And we're going to meet tomorrow at 10, I think. So we'll get some feedback from there and we'll see. My recommendation was we started with the catering doors only and see if there was an issue before we buy door stops for the entire thing. There's safety issues and concern issues and security issues. So we got to work through this. This is not real simple.
2 mini splits in the head end room for the fiber optics were serviced earlier this month. They had frozen over in the weather, so they got serviced. The board had a meeting with our insurance broker on the 4th of December to better understand how to budget for the coming year, amongst other things. Larry had another training with Security 101 on the 2nd of December regarding the Harbor Club doors. And it's revolving around AP hearings. We've had a lot of hearings lately, common area violations, lack of permits on boats and trailers, nuisance complaints, kind of everything. And that is all I have. The rest is for executive session today.
I just have one question, and this is just informational for me, looking at the reserve study. It talks about on the golf course, replacing the bridge. What bridge?
The one that goes from 10, that goes from the back of the golf course that you can see from like the deck, goes over to 10. That bridge that it goes over a very large culvert ditch.
That's all culverts. There's no bridge.
There's a bridge, there's a little bit of bridge.
Bridge? All right, I'm gonna have to go take a closer look now. I saw that, I'm like, bridge?
Yep.
What bridge are we talking?
Going over to 10, going over to the T from 10 from the clubhouse.
We've priced
Right.
it. We've priced it once or twice before, but it's not in the budget.
That's part of the new plan was to correct that.
I thought we had already put new culverts in there and replaced all that, and then I don't know of any bridge, but I'll go back and look again.
Yeah,
There may have been a bridge there,
Okay,
but we put a big, anyway,
let's go ahead and move on.
yeah, sorry.
Okay, unfinished business, Jennifer just went over the reserve study and status. We plan next month to have the company that did the reserve study come out and talk to the community. And he'll be here on the board meeting of that. Next up is the document control procedure. Lee,
We haven't done any work on that this month.
okay. Next, Mike, if you'd like to go over the plan for the,
If you didn't have one on your seat, if you could share one next to the person and take a look at this. This is what our plan is. This has been through about 4 or 5 iterations. It's not completed yet. This is a plan. It's not a promise. We know we have to do this and we want to do this, but it's a matter of how it's going to be done. There are a number of things that are involved with CAMA permitting because we're close to the CAMA restrictions and we have some of the plants that we want to take out of that area inside that zone. So we're going to have to see what permits we need. There's a master plan for the Harbor Club. Do we need a smaller additional plan to go with that, or do we have to start from scratch? So it's going to be a while before this gets done, but we're working on that. Mark Hittner is basically my contact on that. And a lot of it's going through this because we have a lot of experience on camera too. We'll come out and we're going to gravel that probably with 1.5 inch gravel so that it's not as big as the track pads that go into the lots that knock the dirt off. Hopefully the trucks are going out of there because they bounce and it knocks the dirt off the wheels. We'll put some gravel in there, but not quite that big. We can't put solid gravel because it becomes impervious, and then we have other issues. So we have to have the water run through the gravel. I've talked with Roads and Streets with this. I've talked with the Safety Committee, Stormwater Committee, the Fishing Club, and several, probably 5 or 6 voters that were using the ramp when I was down there.
Are we talking the area indicated as circle?
No, the circle area is what the drive around. And the lines here is where the parking's gonna be.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's gonna be pull-in parking. So we're hoping that when people go to the circle, they launch, they pull in, they go to the front lots, the front parking place. Those are gonna be 12 by 50. I've had some recommendations at 11 or 10. I think that's too small because my experience is not everybody is as backer as other people are. And we don't want people catching fenders and trailers and things like that on each other. So this will give us, if we go like this will give us 13 places. The voters will have to play nice with each other and pull to the front so the people in the back of them can pull in and then back out. So it's a little bit of both. When we go in there, we're going to be cutting a good number of those trees down. Not all of them, but a good number of them. So for the people across the pond, I'm recommending that we do some evergreens of some type, probably in 2 rows, because the last thing you want to do is have a beautiful set of trees you're looking at over there when you're across the pond and then they're gone and you see trailers. That's really not real fair to them, but if we put some screening in there, we have them see green things other than trailers. So yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, you can see me now or see me later. That's fine. But I wanted to give you an idea. This is the same diagram that was in Friday last week. So this is what we're currently working on. As soon as we get this written, we can take it. I'm going to try to get at least 3 contractors on it so that we have an idea of what costs really are. Thank you.
and Mike, did you want to talk about the solar lights on the?
May I touch on this? Sure. The thing we're trying to do here is to use, there's a little bit of slack, and I hate using that word for this, a little bit of slack between the construction contract amount and the amount of the loan we're taking out, which means there might be a little additional contingency, if you will, funding. Some of that has been used for chairs and tables and stuff like that. We think there might be a little bit left over, and hopefully, if there's enough left over to do this job, we can go ahead and rock and roll and get it done without having to push it into next year's budget prep. That's all I wanted to say.
Good point, Lee, thank you. We probably won't have the final on what's left over until sometime in January. Bill Dressler is out of the area right now. The holidays will be back in January, so we expect getting some figures put together. We need to have the last payment to Wimco first, and then we can start adding up the numbers once we got. So I would say that this probably would be done sometime March or April, maybe, if we get it that fast. But that's what we'll be looking at.
Yeah.
It's a plan, okay? It's just not a promise.
And Mike, you want to talk about solar lighting?
It was pretty obvious if you were at the Harbor Club or any of the events that we've had over the last couple of days that the parking lot is dark where you stand at. That's why we had the portable lights on it, and we had those up. And if we need those again, we may go back to doing that, but I have started looking for a chairman to help me plan this. They don't have to know everything about lighting, but they have to be, aggressive enough and inquisitive enough to search out the information and bring it back so we can start looking at it. What we're trying to do is do European type lighting that goes down rather than out, because you don't want to live across the water from that and have that thing blowing at you 24 hours a day, all night long. So that's part of the plan. And I've been to the board adjudicatory panel or advisory panel and asked them for some help with this, and I didn't get anything back. So if you have someone that you think would be good to run this project, or you want to volunteer yourself, let me know. We'll get together and start talking about it. But that's in progress, and I think the board, again, it'll depend on what's left over as money or maybe a budget item, but that's what we're going with that.
Okay, next thing we had on the agenda was the retention policy. Jennifer already covered that, so we're good there. We all have now the Green Space Committee. We have a charter that they put together. I sent it to you guys last night. Charlie, you're heading up that. You want to give a statement on that?
Sure. Give him the mic. The Green Space Committee proposes the charter that's before you. We intend to be liaisons to the directors and the community, and also to give you input and to be able to do research like Mike was talking about for solar lights with regard to projects that are going to affect open space.
Did you volunteer?
Sorry?
Did you volunteer for the lights?
I did. I volunteered to be a
Thank you.
solar guy.
Appreciate that. Very nice.
Okay, so
It is kind of like a green space sort of.
Charlie's going to do the solar light
Great, that's great.
in the green
We'll get
space.
together.
I think what we need to do is kind of liaison to the Green Space Committee. We don't have one now. Larry,
I'd be more than happy to.
okay.
Okay.
Mike?
Yeah.
We're gonna say Mike is the liaison to the Green Space Committee.
We're meeting tomorrow at noon.
Thanks, Charlie, for putting that forward, buddy.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
yeah, thank you.
I did read through that, and there's a couple other, there's the technology, also charter here. There's some redundancies in these policies that could be worked out. And maybe, since we got them last night, it's pretty quick to read it last night and then decide today. So if we could do that at the next meeting, give us some time before we pass them.
And if you could have everybody for your committee fill out an application so we could approve everybody on the committee. Get those to, give them to Mike, and we'll get it all going for you.
Most of it. Well,
Okay.
coordinate. It's attaboys go to everyone out there.
Yes, it's not a single person job. So was the beacon, I think Jennifer's covered that already. Do you have anything else on the beacon?
No, I think I'm meeting with them on Friday.
Did you have samples for show and tell?
I can bring the samples for show and tell. Sorry.
Okay,
They're great.
trust me.
Okay, next, Lee, you had proposals, changes to the collection policy.
Yeah, there will probably be 2 rounds of this. This one is to clean up some stuff that is, in my view, unduly punishing maybe for members. Currently, we're applying late fees equal to the greater of either $20 a month or 6% per year, and they're applied each month until all past due amounts are paid in full. And the owner will be charged with both the late fee and interest. I'm proposing that late fees only assess dues balances equal to or greater than $50 and a penny. And the reason for that is because the strictest interpretation of our current policy, and I just have one example here, but I believe there are more. I have one of the residents who, and this can happen a million different ways, short paid his dues last year by $10. He asserts that he didn't receive the email, and that's possible. Could have gone to junk. At the time he got a collection notice that $10 had become $150 due. And I think there are other folks in here that have had maybe some similar kinds of experience. Well, this is silly. If somebody, and you say, how can you do a $10 short? Well, it could be a keystroke. In his case, he says he got mixed up over the $50 and the $10 for the RFID card. It really doesn't matter. The point is he's got $10 past due and we're beating the hell out of him. That's a financial term. It's just not fair. So I'm proposing we add late fees will be assessed on any dues balance equal to or greater than $50. Now, we do need to know that having a balance due sets you as a, what is it, non-qualified to vote?
Not in good standing.
Yeah, not in good standing. So even $10 can qualify you there, but
We should add the balances are unqualified to vote in any election or ballot initiative, or unless the board stipulates otherwise.
I'm on page 1, you're on page 2.
That's the part that you just said.
Okay.
Page 2. But I think if the board says that you can have a balance for lot mowing, let's say, lot mowing being 500. If we just assessed a lot mowing bill, the board might say we can have a $500 balance.
Let's use the microphone so I can hear.
All right, we've been sending our past due notices and late fees notices all by email. And to head that off, we'll send the first 30 days via email. After 60 days, we'll send via email and regular first class US Postal Service. Because we've sent some recently by US Postal Service, and that has resulted in people coming back to the office and saying, hey, I didn't get the email. Is there a way you could not receive an email? Yeah, I get it. Is there a way you could not receive your mail? Yeah, I get it, but the resident has some responsibility too. And on the back, balances of any type any amount qualify the member is unqualified to vote in any selection. And we also had at least one occasion where somebody died at a very inappropriate time.
Before they pay their dues.
Before they paid their dues. We've sent the Lord a notice on timing of deaths, but he has not responded yet. But anyway, in case we're requesting death. Highlighted in green. The next round, if there is one, will be to tighten up the collection notices timelines, but that's in legal review right now. So anyway, in sum, late fees assessed on any dues balance equal to or greater than 50 bucks and a penny. After day 30, the final notice is sent via email. After day 60, via email and regular first class. Add the balances of any type, qualify the member as unqualified to vote, and the death clause. Somebody give me a motion.
I wouldn't move, but I have a question first.
We can move and have discussion.
My question is that the late fees will be assessed on any dues balance equal to or greater than. And my question would be to you, Jennifer, is are there other forms of monies owed to the POA that add up into something significant that this would release them from, other than the right that they don't vote?
No, if you look at up right above the second page, green, the way that the current policy is that the board has passed many years ago is first that the attorney's fees are paid if there are any. And then second to fines, penalties, or late fees or interest. Third is lot maintenance, like if you're paying for lot mowing or any upkeep charges, like we had to charge somebody to do something that we pay us back for something that we did. And then the last is to dues. So if you have a balance on your account, like this gentleman did that brought this
You're right.
information to Lee, everything, there was $10 of dues. But everything after that that got assessed had to be paid first. So
Yep.
he still has $10 of
I get
dues.
that.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
not really what I'm asking. What I'm asking is everything above number, the fourth one, which is fourth to dues. What's the total amount that you can get owed to the POA that would still prevent you from voting? But
So the board has to, on the date of record, has to decide what the balance can be. And it typically in the last years, it's been zero. So it would be zero. So if they had anything on their account at all, they wouldn't be in good standing to be able to vote.
I could easily do 30 bucks, easily. 2 RFID stickers times 10 and 2 RFID cards. And they walked into the office and said, put it on my account, and it did. There's 30 bucks.
I'm comfortable with the 50 plus 1 penny. I don't have a problem with that. But what I'm concerned about is that are we going to have other violations that are fined that remain unpaid that we should be getting, they should be getting late fees on?
The answer is yes.
That's what I'm concerned about.
We would be setting, so when we establish a late fee in our system, we're gonna be taking a look at everything that's $50 plus.
Yeah, okay. I would make a motion to pass this as presented with the stipulation that we revisit this in 6 months to see if there's any other issues financially that are affecting the collection.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
I know you don't usually entertain discussion, but a quick question. Obviously, there's a difference between an invoice and a past due amount. So if someone has been billed, they usually give an X amount of time before, without payment, then that account becomes overdue. I think we're kind of muddying the waters between the two. If someone comes in and says, you know, I want these things, put them on my account, they should have 30 days to pay. And if they don't pay within 30 days, then it becomes past due. Past due then makes them not in good standing, per se.
That's correct, but when you know that you have a voting initiative coming up and you want to vote, you need to make sure, because you're grown up, you gotta make sure that everything's paid. And what we try to do with now that we have speed violations, and sometimes people don't know that they got a speed violation, and maybe it's during an area that we're about to have a vote, we don't put the speed violation on their account until after the vote, so that we don't preclude their vote.
Wouldn't there be a period in a speed violation to allow you to pay it before it becomes past due?
There is, but I don't have a way to look through over 2,800 accounts to look through each one and say, okay, they had a speed violation. I mean, we just don't do that. Do you have a balance? It goes over, so we send the delinquent balances over to the voting folks, and they are the ones that take away the votes that should not have been made.
But I'm just saying, because you're saying balances and delinquent balances. I'm going to be a stickler, but I mean, there should be a way to differentiate between a current bill due and a past due amount.
Mike,
We have to
Yeah,
go through.
this is
one.
pretty standard on collections, that from what I've seen in other organizations I've been in, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. That's what it says. So it's doing, I think, what you wanted, or what you're recommending. It's not past due till 90. Okay, so,
And one of the things that you just brought up that we've talked about is that if we tightened up that policy, we wouldn't be so lenient. So that the dues are billed out March 1st, or the week of March is coming will be March 7th. So what we're trying to do is tighten that up and start a late fee on May 2nd, so that everybody pays by May 1st so that they can vote. It's kind of killing two birds with one stone. We'll get the collections faster, people avoid, not being able to vote, and everybody wins.
I made a motion.
I'll second that. All in favor?
I'm sorry, I'm still unclear. If someone has a balance due, they're not eligible to vote, correct?
Correct.
No matter what that balance is from.
Correct.
If they're past due, not balanced due.
Yeah, it's Bob and I are of the same.
What I'm trying to figure out, it has been that if you have a balance due on May 1st, you don't vote, correct? Okay, now, to me, you have a balance due, you have a balance due, you have a balance due. And I don't understand, and it could be I'm just not confused, is this 30, 60, 90, you still have a balance due.
But read the bottom, read over here on the second page. Balances of any type, of any amount, qualify the member as unqualified. It's probably not. That's what it's saying.
Member in good standing is the
Wouldn't it
right
be
Yeah.
phrase.
simpler to say, just place it to member in good standing?
Yeah, member in good standing. So that's
Okay, so you have a balance due, you don't vote, period.
if the board decides that, yes.
The board can decide to make it $100 or,
Okay. So that's still up in the air.
yes.
It can change with every time that there's a voting initiative with the board. They can change it. You can change it every time.
But currently, it's balance due, no vote.
It's been zero for years. Yeah.
Needlessly beating up residents or something similar. And frankly, to save time in the office chasing a $10 past due. We ought to be going after the big money, and I think we're trying to on collecting.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
Don, can I get clarity on the motion again? Can you repeat it?
Motion is to accept this with a stipulation that we review it in 6 months to see how this is affecting the collection process.
And the motion is to accept it with the changes as noted.
Correct.
Okay. That's all needed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, it passes. Moving on,
Can I ask a question?
Not really.
let's move on. We'll have a open forum in a little bit.
Your invoices.
We'll have an open forum a little bit later. So let's go ahead and move on right now. Lee, tunnels to towers.
Passing the mic.
wasn't ready for that.
I'm looking too. Okay, that's it.
All right. All right, here's the issue. It's been confused a couple of different ways, and I want to set out the confusion first. We conducted a fundraiser for Tunnel to Towers at the golf course. It was a golf tournament fundraiser. A portion of the proceeds went to Tunnel to Towers and a portion of the proceeds went to the golf course. First of all, I have no problem with Tunnel to Towers. If you ask Walt who his first donor to pledge was to the tournament, it was me, right?
Absolutely.
So I support the idea. I have no problem with us holding the fundraiser at the golf course. That's not the issue. The issue is after the tournament, I learned that there's an expectation by the management at the golf course that those funds would be retained as a reserve fund to build an elevator at the golf course for the restaurant. Now, while that's probably a good intent, it comes down to the idea of who has the responsibility to do the budgeting, who has the responsibility to create a capital budget. The point has been made that that money was raised at the golf course for that purpose. I'm sorry it's not documented in minutes anywhere. It's not documented as a resolution anywhere. So this is not the first time we've had to clear up some. It's easy to confuse this with non-dues income. But there's a very good reason why it's not non-dues income, and that's because the members subsidize the golf course to the tune of about $500,000 so far this year. That subsidy comes from the membership, and there is no source for those funds other than member dues.
Can I ask the question, Lee?
Yep,
Approximately how much money are we talking about?
$7,500, $76.63, I think is the exact
And
amount.
where does that money live right now, the money that came in from?
That's a really good
That's the
question.
question.
I mean, it's gotta be somewhere, but
It's in the bank,
in the bank, but
Wells Fargo Bank.
do
General
you know
fund.
what account it went into?
It went into the golf course non-dues account, depository account.
So it's been deposited as non-dues income.
Can we simplify it by just making a motion, we set aside the amount right now, put it, take an amount that currently resides in the golf course depository account in the same amount as was earned or created by the Tunnels to Tower event, and put it and place it into a reserve account that would be dedicated for that? And is that a motion we could do?
That's where I'm headed.
Oh, okay,
You're
well,
getting ahead.
Yeah, but that is what needs to be done to clean this up. Because the money does in general revenues right now.
then I can simplify it and I'll make a
Which-
motion. And we can vote on it.
Let's make the motion a little more comprehensive
Okay,
and direct me to create a resolution to do that bank account appropriately, because this needs to go to a separate bank account.
Yeah, and that was part of what I just said, is that it needs to come out of that depository account and go into a reserve account dedicated for that purpose.
So what this does in fact is it directs $7,600 of member dues money as a donation to Tunnel to Towers.
Right, to remediate and take care of the expectation that we all had before anyway.
Okay?
So I don't think that members would have a big heartburn over that.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that was discussed. I don't know why it's not noted in any minutes or.
It's not documented at any place.
But I was on the board, and that's what I remember was my expectation, is that's the way it would be
Money
handled.
would go to,
And we're just trying to clarify it and make it, you know,
Okay, I question you calling it member dues money. It was not ever collected as dues. It was money collected by Tunnels to Tower.
But he's saying that the golf course is subsidized by dues money, and therefore if it's not in the black, then this would have normally gone to getting it there, closer to get there. But if we're taking it out of there as a donation to Tunnels to Towers, that's the question.
It increases the amount you need to subsidize the golf course by that amount.
and I could amend the motion to say, let's just make a donation to Tunnels of Towers
No, we want to.
from that depository account.
Can I help you out here?
Yes.
I'm just trying, the original intent of this problem is, we got a safety concern at the point. We got people that can't even get into the point. I said this when they built it, okay? We got a problem. We've already had 2 people fall down those stairs. One is put in the hospital, okay? Since day one, I've fought this issue. For what we paid for that ramp twice, we could have put a lift in to solve the problem. We have an issue. We can't afford to put a lift in. I get that. I understand that. So I personally went out and said, hey, how can we fix this? Well, we have a problem to fix. We did the tournament. I'm sorry that you guys didn't put it in the minutes. That's okay. We can fix that.
That's what we're
Okay?
trying to.
That money should not, as Lee knows, should not be in somebody's account sitting there collecting whatever, because it is for a specific reason and it's public fund. The way to fix that is the board to make a motion right now to decide, are we gonna move forward and do this annually or not? If we don't, you have 2 choices. Either divide that money up for everybody that participated in that tournament and send them a check. Number 2, take the entire fund if you decide not to move forward with this plan and send that money to Tunnels to Towers where it belongs. Very simple. I get his point. He has to, as the treasurer, he has to manage that money separately from the accounts. I get that. But the fact that we didn't act right or did the right thing, okay, we need to fix. So it's very easy.
So I've got a
Make a
motion.
vote. If we're gonna continue this and do it every year, we already have it set up for the 14th of September. We either gonna move forward or not. And if we don't, send a check to Tunnels and Towers and it's a closed deal.
We've all passed this future funds generated by them.
This is gonna go way afield if we
Yeah.
aren't careful here.
Exactly.
If this motion passes, I'll bring a resolution back to the board at the next meeting for final approval to set up an account, a separate bank account to be managed for this purpose.
For the purpose of the elevator.
Yes, sir, for the purpose of the elevator.
We need to restate the motion.
go ahead and restate it.
I make a motion that we take an amount equal to the amount that was created by the Tunnel to the Tower event and take that amount from the depository account of the golf course and create it as a donation into a reserve account dedicated to the purpose of the elevator lift. Does that meet all the requirements, Lee?
Yeah,
I'll second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
You good with that?
no,
Why is that?
I think it was messed up the first time. And I'm not sure we're fixing it. That's okay.
But-
I'll take care of it.
Is it okay to, can we follow that up with just a resolution, or does that require another vote? Is that what you wanted?
We do need a resolution to dot
I
all
mean,
the i's and cross the t's, and I'll prepare that for the next meeting.
And are we missing something that, by doing this
Yes,
motion?
No,
very simple, folks. It was never voted on officially in the record. There's no record of it. You have to create the record. The record is you vote to continue this, period, and if you don't, it's a null issue. You send a check to Thompson Tower, it goes away.
Okay.
Number
You
two,
don't send a check to Tunnels to
You don't
Top.
refund
You
the money.
don't send check
Whoa.
to Tunnels.
be a record that we approved.
Okay.
Am I right, Lee?
No, you're not right. We don't refund the money to Tunnel to Towers.
I'm sorry?
We don't refund the money to Tunnel to Towers.
So,
We already sent them money. We were contractually, we had to send them 40% of the proceeds, so we already
And
sent
that
them.
money sits there until you spend it on an elevator.
No, that money sits there until we close the books at year end, which documents the amount of subsidy the golf course
okay,
requires.
excuse me, but we just passed a motion that the money's gonna sit in an account, in a reserve account, until we get an elevator. The question of whether we continue is, maybe that's a question, but that's a separate vote in itself.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's a different,
That's a different issue, and I'm in support of doing it, don't get me wrong. But we did what we need to do to make this right, because it was recorded properly earlier. And that's all I was trying to
I'll bring a
accomplish.
resolution to the next meeting that dots all the i's and crosses all the t's. I just didn't have time to prepare it.
Okay,
Thank you, Lee.
all right. So that takes care of that. Moving on. Stormwater permit renewal. Down the Gondolier Peninsula. We have stormwater permit that covers that area down there. We have 180 days to renew that application. There's a $792 fee, permit fee for renewal. We need to make sure this gets done on time. Otherwise, there can be a penalty of $25,000 per day. That's per day. So this is a high priority. Ray Redness is going to talk to the surveyor.
Avalos,
Yeah,
Joe Avalos.
and get this going right away. But this is something
No. Is anybody already authorized to do this, to make this happen on our behalf, like Ray?
Ray's,
He has the authority to do it.
Yeah.
Does he need a board approval authority to do the $792 permit fee?
No, we'll just take care of it.
Okay, then can't we let Ray move ahead with it?
yeah. I just want to make sure everybody was aware of this. Is a high priority.
Yeah.
Like I said, at $25,000 a day,
Get it done.
get it done. Yeah, before,
What is the permit, the stormwater permit for? If you could clarify those.
it is, the permit is by the Department of Environmental Quality. Yeah.
NCDEQ.
Yeah,
Gives us the authority and the responsibility
to maintain.
to manage the runoff down there,
Down where?
on the
Gondolier.
peninsula.
around the Gondolier Peninsula.
Is that something that has been in effect and is renewed?
2004,
20 years.
2004, it was renewed in 2012, it was renewed again in 2020, okay? It says every 8 years. I had this conversation with Ray last night. We're looking at the documentation. Why are they asking us to do this in 26? They should be asking us to complete this in 28. So I'm thinking
Unless they
it could
change
be
it.
that it's simply,
Was there a change in this policy?
we have to ask those questions.
Maybe there's an
It's too
opportunity for appeal.
You know, that's the other thing. Can we delay or appeal?
Yeah.
So
Over $792?
Application permit, period. Sounds like to me, if we put 72 application permit in it, fill out the application, it's a done deal, goes through. It's not. No, there's,
All you've done is apply. Doesn't mean you catch a permit, accepted.
how hard was it when we did it on the previous times? I
Very
mean,
hard.
It was.
And there
Big
were
deal.
fines. Do you know about that, Ann? It was way before your time, but there were fines.
There were fines, but I don't recall.
There's more to give Ray to get this done.
One of the things I talked to Ray about, he wants to start with Avalos and have that office take a look at it because they did the original. They may be able to help us walk through this. But the other thought I had was, is there such a thing as an expediter that we could hire to put on this and shove it through the system and get it done in time? Because we got about 5 or 6 weeks to get this finished, completed and sent in to be on time. Or some fee is going to be charged to us for fines.
Yes.
Not necessarily $25,000, but depends on what we get sent in and how amenable they are to what we would call reasonableness, but they may call it something else. So yeah, it's we're working. So yeah, I would say pass the 792 to get the application permitted in there. And then we'll just stay in contact with Ray as to where are we? What did Avalos say? Can we get an extension? Blah, blah, blah.
I may authorize Ray and whatever resources he needs to move forward as fast as possible to get this done, and include
Second.
the authorization of dollar.
Yep.
Second. All in
Mike
favor?
seconded.
I'll second.
Oh, Mike second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
This was not an unknown. It was a surprise that it's the 26th instead of the 28th. So
So we weren't expecting it at all.
not this early.
Well, I would have
Expecting
to
it, yeah.
question that before I send in any money, but that's just me.
Well,
Well,
we still have to make the application
right.
now or then. And we're not going to
There's
have,
gotta be somebody, a biller, something.
Okay, but in the
Who will
end,
ask the question.
Let's-
in the end, they're right.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, next, like, Larry, talk about the technical committee.
Okay, I'm proposing that we create a new committee.
Larry.
Okay. I'm proposing that we create a new committee. Like we don't have enough committees, but this is an important one in my view. Because since I've been on the board, one of the things I've been committed to and working with is RFID and other technical issues. And it's really become apparent to me that we're at a shortage of people we can call on, resources we can call on that have the technical skills, the computer skills, video skills, the technical related stuff. We've got quite a few pieces of software that we use that require that someone needs to have administrative control over, and that is in this community and not outside in an outside vendor. And that's the way it's sort of set up now. So we do need a team that the board can call on to help with these things. I wrote up a charter, and I think it covers most of the stuff, but if there's anything missing, we can add to it. I would like to see, what I really would like to do is get an approval on this fairly quickly, so I can put in a Friday update and take applications from the community of people that have specialized skills, technical skills, that would like to be on the committee and serve on it. It would be an unusual committee, and that I don't see this committee as being one that that your tenure on the committee is 1 year or 2 years. It's the board will appoint you to be on this committee, and when you're on it, you'll be on it until you decide not to be. Because we need the skills. We need somebody that can handle these kinds of things. Just to help you understand, I'll read the mission to you, and this will be, and once the board approves it, I'll put it on front steps and everybody can see it, but it's called the Technology Advisory Group. At least that's what I'm recommending, and known as the TAG. The TAG is created by the board of directors. The TAG is established to review, evaluate, and technology solutions that enhance the operational efficiency, security, and overall technological advancement of Fairfield Harbor. The committee will ensure that technology investments align with the community's strategic goals and provide value to residents. The primary role of the tag is to function as a liaison and advocate for Fairfield Harbor property owners. The tag shall advise the board of directors its designated Fhpoa membership. The board of directors directs the tag to establish a mechanism to report directly to the board of directors and the Fairfield Harbor membership. So that's just the basic mission. There's some other details about this will be posted. So if I sent this out yesterday, and I'm not sure everybody's had a time to review it, but I really would like to get this approved as quickly as we can. So I can put this in the update and start getting applications and bring those to the board for approval. And if we don't approve this today, then it'll be next month, and then we'll be another month later getting any members on it. And I think it's quite an important committee to get going. We are operating pretty much in the dark ages as far as technology. I want to see, I really have a vision that we need to have a more responsive website that people can be interactive and put things out there. We're going to have a community channel that's going to take some specialized skills to be able to share that so everybody in the community can have access to it. Lots of things from a technology perspective that need to be done in the next few years. So that's why I'm recommending this. Yeah, Walt.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. So,
The question is, that would also add on to the fact that everything would be broadcast properly.
well, that's one of my goals is to have the video so to stream everything.
So, I mean,
So I'd like to ask for a motion to.
So move.
to do
Second.
this. Okay.
I did read through the policy. There are a few redundancies in there. I'll get together with you, but not big. It's just
Mhm.
small stuff. It's repeated. There's no
Yeah,
sense in.
we can amend it.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
As soon as you get the amended version with the minor changes, I'll post it on Front Steps and everybody can read it.
Okay, the last thing we have here is I just want to make an announcement. Many of you have received in the mail something that says Fairfield Harbor is a dear customer, and it talks about lead in your pipes, and it looks like it comes from us, or I'm not sure who it comes from, CWS, but it just has a sincerely Fairfield Harbor, Charlotte, North Carolina on the back. We have no idea where this,
CWS. They're out of Charlotte, CWS.
Yeah.
Nexus.
oh, CW, okay. So this is from CWS out of Charlotte.
Mhm.
So, but it's kind of misleading where it says Fairfield Harbor.
But it's not the POA is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not from the POA. So just be aware of that if you receive this. So, and moving on, there is a hearing for the CW rate increase. It's a testimony of the one that's closest to us is going to be Tuesday, February 3rd at 7 p.m. in County Courthouse, courtroom 4. So if you have a chance to go down there and you're concerned about the rate increases and things like that, you might want to go down there on the 3rd of February and sit in there. So
Did we approve for somebody to go advocate in that?
Paul Hill.
Paul Hill.
Paul Hill will be advocating for us. And I tried to read, and I am not a numbers guy, totally that. But I tried to read and see what I could get out of it, the rate increases. And unless I'm wrong, it looks like that in 3 years, our rates will double.
Sure.
Double. And that's just not satisfactory. I don't know how we can change it, but we've got the highest, some of the highest water rates of any municipality I know of. And especially considering the quality of the water we have at Fairfield. But to know that in 3 years, the rates will double is just mind-bending to me. To pay twice as much for bad water. Now, if they could guarantee us they could good enough water in here that I don't have to have a water system to make it better. It would be at least a little better.
And sewer system work.
But yeah, it looks like the water system rates are gonna go, not the per gallon usage, but all the flat rates. And then when you get to the sewer side of it, it looks like that's about to double too. And so we're looking at pretty close to 100% increase. If you're looking at $140, $150 a month now, in 3 years, it could be 300.
Yeah.
So get interested in this.
What time is that?
What time's, yeah?
7 o'clock.
7 p.m.
PM?
Has anybody reached out to another, community? Because I know Carolina, I believe Pines also has CWS. And maybe try to find somebody who can liaison between the two communities and going to strength as numbers.
Mike,
The last time Fairfield Harbor had a successful appeal to this committee, it was led by Paul Hill.
Yep.
So we went back to Paul and said, since you've had experience with this, I think he was probably, I don't know for sure because I haven't touched base with him, but if I follow up with him, I'll ask that question.
He has or is renewing all the contacts he made at all the levels. And really understands what the regulators are sensitive to. He made the point to me that the regulators really don't care if you come in and say this is too much. You've got to base it on your analysis of CWS efficiency with what they do with your money. And that's what they listen to. And that's where we were successful before. So personally, I'll go to the hearing. I may complain about the rate, but I'm gonna let Paul take the lead on this and get her done as best he can. They're gonna get something, we know that.
Absolutely.
I think we've already gotten one thing, and that's that the meeting was going to be in Jacksonville. And now it's been moved to Craven County. So we got a step in the right direction there.
I was just gonna mention the last time I went to one of those public utility hearings, only 3 residents from Fairfield Harbor showed up, and that's not enough. You guys have to really come out.
I'd like to thank the board for bringing them down to that meeting. That was very efficient. The president was here from CWS. We are the largest consumer of Carolina water developments in North Carolina, so voices mean something.
Yeah, and to Don, I'd like to add, while you may not feel like you're competent or know what's going on, like I don't, as far as all that, I'm going blind when I try to read those spreadsheets with what they mean. I understand numbers, but I don't understand what they mean by them. But a show of force would go a long way. So even if you don't feel competent to be there, just show up. If you know somebody that's willing to go, show up and make a presence for Fairfield, it probably will have an impact. And that's what we want to do. We want to have an impact, like we know it can make a difference. So I'll try to go as well.
All right, at this time, we'd like to move to the open forum. If anybody has a question. Roberta?
Is Tumbler Towers booked for 26?
Yes. September 14th.
What is it?
September 14th.
And when you were talking about your email and billings, you can send return receipts for emails as well as you should send the invoices registered for return receipt.
They've accepted it, they've got it.
Yeah.
And we can see on our side, we can see that they've opened it.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah.
I make a copy of that and put it in their file.
We do.
It's something to go on.
Be
And
very
then send it-
surprised though with the people that get readers. It says they've opened it. I'll say, no, I didn't see it.
Right.
You've got the printed copy there. And it says send your return receipt through the post office. And you've got that to it, just gives you a better paper trail.
Ted? Oh,
I just wanted to get clarification on your fees. You said basically that all late fees, except there was an exception made for people that have speeding tickets. So is it anybody that has, as far as voting, when you were discussing this earlier, first you said, oh, we're going to exempt people who have speeding tickets.
We don't exempt them, I don't mean to say that. So the policy is that if the board says you have to have a zero balance, if the board says you have to have a zero balance, you have to have a zero balance. But what I'm saying is, we will hold back putting the money on the ticket amount on the account until after the voting period. We'll
So
let
a
them know.
person could have an outstanding balance due on a ticket that they
And then not be able to.
that they owe, but you're not gonna put that on their account so that they can vote, and then you'll put it on afterwards.
If we get a new ticket that's turned in from safety and access control, and it's during the time of the voting, if it's a brand new ticket, we can let them know that they have a ticket, but I can hold off on putting the fine on there until after we don't want it to be unfair. We want as many people to vote as they can. We also can go to the electronic voting folks and let people know that there may have been a balance on this, but it was a ticket and that it was paid. I mean, sometimes there's things that we are able to help with as long as it's within the policy. You have to have a zero balance. If the board says you have to have a zero balance on May 1st, you have to have a zero balance on May 1st, no matter what.
So if somebody has a ticket after May 1st,
Then they have a ticket after May 1st, yeah.
So I just have a couple of questions if I could be indulged. You talked about your retention policy and about destroying records. Obviously, we haven't seen that retention. We don't have access to knowing that information, and so I don't know what the criteria for what would or wouldn't be destroyed would be. Is there any reason that you wouldn't potentially scan some of those documents
Great
for
suggestion.
electronic records so that
Yeah.
something doesn't get destroyed inadvertently that it
No.
shouldn't have been?
We've talked about that for years back when Ann was on the board, you're nodding. Jim Klein looked into that. It was greater than $100,000 to have a company come and do it. So we could start to do it ourselves, but we need to have a policy on which things, like you're talking about, which things to save. We're always gonna save the property control files, which are like your survey, any additions to your house, your roof, all of the permits that you get, we put those in the property file. We also have what we call a street file, which has all the billing. It has any time that somebody's in a foreclosure, we put all of those things in their street file. And there has to be a policy on each one of those types of documents, and somebody has to be able to determine when it gets scanned, how this is going to show up. But it was over $100,000 and the board said we can't afford this at this time, and we should probably look at it again.
Is there no reason that you couldn't use the big copier scanner fax machine that?
That's what I'm saying, it would take probably years for us to do that, and we, it's huge amount of, it's over 50 years old, this community, so we have over 50 years of resident records, and we don't need them all, but there has to be a policy so that we can do what we need to do. So the board has to create the policy and then we'll carry it out.
So Jennifer,
Criteria.
Right.
that would be a
Isn't.
perfect thing that the board could assign to a technology group.
To a person, yeah.
And come back with recommendations
Mhm.
of whether it's feasible to do directly on staff, have a company come in to do it.
Right, it's just really expensive if a company does it.
I was involved with a program that did some scanning of electronic health records, and it was tremendously expensive to do it. It takes a special software because it's no good to scan it and put it in a folder that you'll never be able to find again.
Right.
Right, this has to be a very
It
organized.
has to be organized and indexed,
Mhm.
which requires specialized software.
Right, exactly. And then we have to pay for that software and keep paying for that software forever.
Thank you.
Ted?
Just one comment on that letter from Carolina Water. There's a lot wrong with that, if that is back from them. First of all, there's letterhead, right? That did not come on Carolina Water letterhead. Secondly, they have Fairfield Harbor at the top of the letter indicating it probably came from Fairfield Harbor. And then at the very end, where it has Fairfield Harbor and it has to try, I get that that's Carolina Water. But in this day and age, when there's so much out there, when people are trying to, entice you to do something that's illegal or cost you money, or maybe do an inspection you don't have to do, to a company that may be the one behind it. And I get it, people have already contacted Carolina, they said it's theirs. But shame on them
asbestos.
for coming after 100% increase over 5 years and can't put something like that on letterhead, shame on you.
Yeah, we just got out of a 2-year increase.
But the point is, like, you know, if you're a public, and I get it, you know, but if you're a public utility, you owe that to the people to do that. And that's just absolutely 100% wrong. So, sorry, it's just an opinion, but that's just awful.
I guess, just tagging on to that, it's my understanding that there is a director of communications for Carolina Water that's supposed to be sending us quarterly updates on our water and sewage systems and reports on that, which those have not been forthcoming regularly basis, and it's not happening. I just wonder if management has followed up with them to see why that's not continuing to happen. And in relation to that, since that individual, we wouldn't reach out to that person and say, why is communication being sent out without proper notification, and you need to make sure that's done as.
I'll do that,
Mona.
Mona.
His comments.
I haven't talked to Jessica in a while, so yep, I'll take care of that.
Bruce?
We have a terrible speeding problem on Ibis Lane, where we live. And we're at the intersection of Ibis and Gull, which has a stop sign, which people ignore. And didn't we buy a bunch of new cameras?
A bunch.
There's a pole there that a camera could be mounted on. But I can sit and I watch the people just breeze right through the stop sign. The other day I stood going getting my mail, and the one that red Explorer, he slows down just enough to go around the corner. And I stood there and stared at him, he actually stopped. But I'm just afraid one of these days, one gal came so close to hitting him and the dogs one day, speeding down Ibis. And it's just, something's gonna happen, and a body's gonna end up in our front yard.
Hopefully not me.
Yeah.
Probably just got hit, because it was a dead cat on the side of the road on Ibis.
What color?
Siamese.
Oh, no.
Larry, you want to pass that to safety and security?
I will, and just to clarify with her, the cameras that we have were purchased and put in place to monitor over Fairfield Harbor assets, not anything over any of the, they weren't safety cameras. They're to monitor the assets at various places, Red Sox Park, in Harbor Club.
Yeah, but you're talking about giving out speeding tickets.
But we do have, and it'll be probably in the next year's budget, to request for another camera, so we can have another speeding camera. The problem that we've had in the past in the safety committee, dealing with that, is that we don't technically have an enforcement capability here at Fairfield. We have a capability to issue a violation and a fine potentially, but not an enforcement case. Nobody here has the authority to stop somebody and say, you didn't stop at the stop sign, I'm gonna do something about it. It's sad that that's the way it is. All we can do is try to encourage people that we live in a community, we want to be safe. And one of the ways to be safe is to try to keep people at the right speed limits, 30 or under. And I've seen, we've got residents that speed, exceed. We've got delivery drivers that do it. I've seen Amazon drivers drive way too fast in here.
That's true.
We're trying to address it. We're trying to come up, and if you've got good ideas about how we can do it, I'd love to hear them and bring them to the safety committee.
They actually
review.
moved the stop sign 10 feet over. More towards Gulf, so maybe Gulf's way over.
here in the middle.
Well, you can penalize somebody for speeding. Why the delineation that you can't do it for them not stopping?
There's really not, it's just like, well, first let me say, it's like speeding in that if we had 10 speed cameras, we would have control over speed in this community. But we don't. We've got a few, one, and I want more. The stop sign issue, we could do the same thing, but it takes a specialized kind of camera to monitor a stop sign. Think how many stop signs we have here. And I see people abuse it and come to rolling stops almost every one of them. But if we could afford to put that stop sign camera, yes, then we can put we can issue a violation and a fine. But we've got to put a camera there that can do it, because you can't send a violation and a fine to someone in the community if you don't have proof that that's what has occurred.
Has the safety committee considered a portable speed limit sign and you are going this?
Yeah.
I mean, that will actually slow them down more than a speeding ticket.
One of my thoughts too.
And they're inexpensive.
And it's been discussed, and then maybe it can get in this year's budget request, a rolling speed limit sign, because then you can move it around to different points and target various areas. I agree.
Put a speed bump and put in by the stop signs.
No.
Possibly, that's an idea. And I'll certainly refer it to the safety committee.
Yeah, I was on Galt. You
And,
put it on Galt before the stop signs. I mean, it's treacherous, it really is. We have a man in our neighborhood that rides around on a little scooter thing. I'm just afraid somebody's gonna get nailed.
T-bone.
Mary, we have brought this issue, the Eichelberg's issue, to the safety committee. They can look at it again, perhaps, but they are familiar with it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And a cat was just found dead on the side of the road and most likely was hit by a car.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the car was
going
too fast.
All right, with that, we'd like to,
Did the guy just come in? Isn't he the truant guy?
oh yeah,
Could be a dead cat.
Walt.
We didn't actually do an official vote on this tunnel to towers, okay? And that's the problem we ran into in the beginning. So please, vote. Are you gonna do this continuously? Or are we gonna do something with that money? Because he is the treasurer. He needs to know this. And it needs to be official. So let's get it in the record now,
Didn't we just do that?
officially, that we voted to do this.
Wait, they did that.
Well,
They
we
did that.
did.
They didn't, and they didn't even second it.
They did. It was done.
We only voted to deal with the money issue from the.
That's
Right. Right, and
Lee's
but
gonna bring back
Lee's gonna put together a resolution.
Next
He's
meeting.
we gotta do this now.
Let him work on it.
Yeah, he said he's gonna put together a resolution
The resolution should cover that
for next meeting.
for the next event.
I have a statement,
Yeah.
if that's fine. I want to thank all of you for doing what you do. It's a thankless job, as you well know. And I don't know why anybody would want to sit in that chair, especially you, okay? You get the brunt of the information, but I'd like to personally thank Larry for the work that you've done.
Thank you.
We worked together for years. Bob, we worked together for years. You guys are new, just getting to learn each other. Mike, we've been dealing with this forever. Jennifer, I take a bullet for you. Yeah, and you know that.
Okay.
You got the worst job of all. You gotta deal with these guys, us, and your boss. So I would like to thank you guys.
Not so loud, he just walked in.
He just came.
Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for taking the bullet. But I would like to make a statement here, and you all can do with what you want. Okay? There's still a lot of animosity in this community that we see every single day about what's happened in the last 2 regimes. It's time to put it to bed. The only people that can put that to bed is you guys right here. There were a lot of lies, there were a lot of innuendos, and nobody has came out and told the community the truth of the matter. It needs to come out. You need to heal this community, and let's get past it, okay? You guys are the directors. It's time to put it to bed. Every single day, we get bombarded with negativity about what's happened in the past. We have people in this room, and one of them, that has all the history. She knows the rules. She knows what took place. Jennifer knows what took place. But it's not out in the public. Because a lot of lies were told. A lot of people were humiliated. And it needs to heal. And the only way to make that heal is you sitting at this table. So if you're not gonna do that, maybe you shouldn't be sitting in this chair. So I'm gonna put you on notice now. I'm tired of it. I was here before it was even Treasure Island. This is my home. And I refuse to let you guys continue this charade. So let's get the record straight and let's put it out to the community, what really happened and why we are where we are. Please.
Well, I'm gonna just disagree with you. It's time to look forward, not backward.
But it's still out there.
Walter,
We need to close
it's
it.
time to look forward,
Close it.
not backward.
Well,
what
we're not
good-
looking for it
What
though.
good is pointing fingers at other people about what they did? It's done.
It's not
Okay.
done.
Well, then you're not
You're
letting
on,
it
you're
go.
on Facebook, you see it every day, because people told lies and people told untruths.
I'm not saying they
That's
didn't.
facts.
I'm not saying they didn't, but we can't change that.
Nobody's asking you to change anything.
Well, then
I'm
just go
asking you to
forward,
put it out
Walter.
What truly
Go
happened.
forward.
It's fine.
Thank you all. Dan Zimmer just walked in. I'd like to introduce Dan. Dan is Jennifer's boss there.
So no more talk about the end.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I got that in charge. No problem.
At this time, we'd like to,
Treasurer.
at this time, we'd like
Lee,
to,
I'd like everybody to know what you brought up in the meeting the other day, which is extremely important since you're here and you lived through it. Lee brought up a very important information with me, and I think he and I will be working together on this. Ann Simpson, thank God she made it to her. She has all the history. She has all the history, and thank God Lee stood up and said, hey, we need to figure out what we can do moving forward if this ever happens again. And we have the expert right here and right there that has all that data, and we need to prepare ourselves for the next one, so we have a plan in place. That's all I'm saying.
thank you all.
Yeah.
At this time, we deferred the treasurer's report until Dan was here. So we'll let Lee go with the treasurer's report.
Can I go now?
Jennifer.
I still don't like sitting down to talk. Raise your hand if you can't hear me. Yeah, I know. That's because you're not listening. There's a difference. These reports are preliminary. And these numbers are prepared from the October 2025 final, revision 1 statements. Last night I got an email that there's a 2025 final, revision 2 statements in the mail to me. Email. I will not be posting these numbers to Front Steps. For that reason, they are, I think, still quite preliminary. This has been a struggle for everybody involved. And I can get into why it's been a struggle, but I'm not gonna right now. I may at the end when I'm done. I've given the board the statements that go with this. I'm gonna scroll through them real quick and I'm gonna touch the highlights, and that's all. Because some of the pieces in here are still moving parts. Here's your balance sheet from October, close of the month, October 2025, final revised, or updated, excuse me. I'll get final updated revised in email later. But that announcement came in too late for me to change over.
You should have it in your file.
Reconciled deposits are now lumped all together. This is a result of a change in format and change in some other chart of accounts issues. They'll be split back apart. But total, they're $1,928,049. I'm comparing to the previous year because one of the problems with the final updated is that the budget numbers didn't read over properly from August to September to October. So I don't have budget numbers in here that I trust that I can refer to. Property, plant and equipment, $8,256,954. That's line 31. If you're following along in your hymnal, that reflects a lot of the increase in value that comes into property, plant, and equipment from nearly completing the Harbor Club. I have the next to last draft request has been submitted. We do have the CO, and as memory serves, there's about $100,000 yet to pay on the contract. Makes our total assets 11,376,929 versus 6,000,008 at the end of last year. Our current liabilities are 1,844,322. A big part of that is 1,004,000 in deferred revenue. This is dues that have been paid but not earned yet by services provided. That's a short-term liability. Running for that way, but every accountant I've ever says you're an idiot not to do it, so I'll take that. Total liabilities, both short and long term. Line 56, boys and girls, is 7,492,387 versus 3,002,000 last year. Total members' equity is 3,008,000, which says you've incurred liability since it hasn't gone up very much since the previous year. Says you haven't really incurred much increase in value past what you've earned from putting the Harbor Club in. That's your balance sheet. Consolidated statement of income and expenses. October 2025, now watch this, we're comparing to October 2024, not year end last year. So this is this year to last year. Total dues revenue, this is on accrual. It's different than the number Jennifer reported. 2,943,000 versus 2,007,000 last year. All that says is the shape of the accrual curve is a little different. Because the net dues were the same. Total revenue, 4,030,000 versus 3,746,000. This, I believe, is a legitimate increase in revenue. And it's encouraging because it's going the right direction. That's line 35 for you guys that are trying to read from your hymnal over there. I'm going to skip way down to operating profit. We've had some decent increase in revenue. We've had some decent increase in all the expense categories that go into this. You've got an operating profit of 2,120,674 versus 1,008,000. That's a $300,000 increase in your operating profit for the year. Your net operating income is on line 113. After you pay your insurance, your property taxes, and your management fees to Troon, your net operating income is 1,340,000 versus 903 last year. And below this line is where it starts to get a little wonky. So I'm not going to get too far into it. But if you look at line 121, net income is 731,581 versus October last year, we were in the hole. How did that happen? Two pieces that I know of that are not posted in here. One of them is action that was budgeted that I have not taken. And I've said from the beginning, I'm not going to make deposits to reserves until we see how we come out for cash at the end of the year. Right now, that's about 700,000 of that difference. The other part of that difference that I know of is normally at mid-year, we post an amount to allowance for bad debt. And in the previous year, it was something on the order of $200,000 posted to allowance for bad debt. What else is in there? I don't know. I'm going to run over and kick that wood pile and see what slithers out from under it. But that's where we are. So I feel pretty good about the net operating income versus compared to last year. The net income after interest, taxes, expenses, non-recurring, that's a crapshoot right now. But it's not money you can spend. I've been doing a cash estimate. Are we gonna have enough cash to get to the end of the year? I did it again for the operating and the cash flow and the balance on hand. And it looks like compared to unrestricted funds, you've got a net deficit of about $381,000. Again, this is my back of the envelope. What are we gonna do about it? We've got some options. We can borrow from reserves, and we will probably have to do that. When I have a better feel for how much it's actually gonna be, I'll bring something back to the board as a resolution to do that. Questions from the board?
No questions.
I did not present, as you've noted, may have noted, separate income statement for the golf or for the restaurant, consolidated into one operating entity in the new statements. And candidly, I took one look at it and I don't believe the numbers. Very, very simply, the number of rounds of golf reported in October total was less than the rounds of golf reported in August. So we got a little work. You can't unplay a round of golf. So that's part of why I haven't presented that item there.
Wouldn't there be more rounds of golf in August than October?
I think he's talking year to date.
Oh.
Year to date, yes, yes, year to date. Okay, so we didn't unplay some rounds. They didn't disappear somewhere, but they're not in the statements right now. Is the money for those in the statements? I don't have the detail to answer that. Okay, I'm trying to work with the statements as they're presented to me. I'm trying to stay out of the detail of it, if I can. We're late again, obviously. We're still getting reports for October and it's December. I've sent Troon a second notice of default. I've discussed with them that this is potentially going to require a renegotiation of the contract. And we really need to get this straightened up. Are we going to do it in the month of December? Hell no. Accountants typically all take the month of December off. So that's because they work 87 hours a day in March and April. For the budget going forward, we're awaiting budget input from Troon for the operating side. Dave Farmeyer, Ray Redness, and several others have helped me put together a draft of a capital expenditure budget. And I will have a capital reserve contribution forecast. And that'll be done by Christmas, and I'll have it to the board by Christmas for the board's review. For the new year, I want to handle, and I'm going to push to get this done. A lot of these projects that we're doing will handle as what I'll think of as a capital expenditures line item in operating. It makes no sense and just confuses the issue to put $100,000 into reserves in April and draw it out again in October of the same year. It just goes round and round and round. So we'll create line items for these items that we know of, that we know how we're going to plan. We have some idea what the cost is near term, and the cost estimates are relatively credible. You'll see those in the new budget as I call them budgeted projects. On the total property, plant, and equipment value and be depreciated. But that's an accounting issue. That's not how you pay for it. So last night, I'm trying to think, how did we get here? And since I've been a part of this committee, as it impacts these statements, we've changed the person doing the posting to our accounts in our office twice. We've changed the staff in Troon Accounting that handles our account 3 times. We've changed the location of the offices of the Troon team that handles our account once. We did a substantial revision of our chart of accounts, effective with the first new accounting software. So it wasn't tried out on the old software. We changed the main software used to create our accounting statements. I understand that was required because the old software was losing its support from Microsoft or whatever. But we took no opportunity to run the new software side by side with the old high quality output. That's been a QA, QC thing for me since the 1980s. When you do a software update, you run them side by side. And as I've been involved in the discussions with the team that's working their butts off to try to get this right now, they're complaining about a substantial lack of documentation on how this all works. So if you want a recipe for a train wreck, we've got it, and we're trying to work our way out of it right now. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Lee. At this point, I'd like to recess and meet back in the boardroom at 12 or 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, yeah.
Lee, let me ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the finance part of it.
Yes, ma'am.
The community has engaged a professional company to oversee our accounts and to manage our accounts and to guide us in this community. And it seems like they're failing. I mean, I understand that they try to change over in staff, but they should, as a professional company, have procedures written down so anyone can step in and with a little bit of training, carry on and have us consistent. I mean, their train wreck is affecting each and every one of us. So what do we do about it? Do we just keep on dealing with them?
No, we're gonna have to either get this fixed and get it worked out.
But why are
Soon?
we fixing it? Why is True not fixing it? That's
Well,
what we're
Troon
paying them to
is
do.
fixing it. I'm not going in there and
How long have you
changing the
given them
mapping
to
on
fix it?
these
You
things.
said you've given them 2 notices of default. How long do we give them to fix it before we go under?
Well, we're not going under. We're not going under.
We don't know how much money we have.
Well, yes, we do, but it's going back to the bank deposits to get it right now, which is a little bit of a mess. Yes, we know how much money we have.
So what's our game plan as a board with Trim?
We're gonna, my recommendation to the board is give Troon till the end of the month, which is also the end of the year, which is also the end of the holiday season. We reconnoiter at that point in time. By that time, we should have September, October, and November, and have had a really good look at it. And candidly, I've said this to Dan, we need to go shopping for an accountant if we can't get it done.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, one other question. Troon, maybe Dan can answer. What is their focus? Is their focus golf course management? Or is their focus community financial reporting? From their website, it seems to be golf course management and perhaps that the financial management aspect of it just isn't their forte.
Just hold that.
Yeah, very good question. And before I get into that, just to introduce myself again, I'm Dan Zimmer, so I'm VP of Operations. I'm based out of North Florida area, and so I provide support to Jennifer and the on-site team here. In regards to your question about the finance side of it, we provide full service. We work with many HOA, CDD, POA communities throughout the state. Most of that's located down in the southeast. So we do have a lot of experience, and we do work a lot with community and associations. So we're well versed in that. As Lee outlined with the change in the accounting and the change in the software, I'm not going to sit up here and provide any excuses for anything other than we are allocating a lot of resources on our side to make sure that the problems get resolved by the end of December, so that when you come back for the next meeting in the new year, that those financial statements are cleaned up and provide a good representation and numbers that the board can look at and make decisions on. That's the commitment we've made. And again, we're allocating a lot of resources within our company to ensure that happens.
So are we unique in your environment of communities that you're overseeing? Is Fairfield Harbor in some way different than others?
No. So we work with a lot of different types of clubs, from small 9-hole golf courses, very straightforward, to large communities that have HOA, POAs, lots of amenities associated with it, lots of different components to it. So we work with a lot of different golf courses, but Fairfield Harbor is not unique or something that's different than we do anywhere else.
Who's your financial software provider?
We made the change from Sage to Dynamics. So that's been part of the challenge over the last 3 months, is getting everything transitioned over to Dynamics and set up properly.
And so is Dynamics not providing you with the support to operate this new software and to test it? And basically, usually, as I think just already pointed out, you would run dual systems until you're sure that everything is being properly accounted for.
So I know that our accounting team will be made available to answer the questions, I think, later today. So I can't speak to that side of it because our accounting team works directly with it. What I can say is I don't believe that it's a software issue. It's getting everything set up correctly, transitioned over from the old system to the new system, and getting the chart of accounts set up properly so everything is reporting correctly. It's not an issue with the numbers being input. It's how those are mapped and recorded into the financial statements, and that's what we're working through to correct.
Are you still running dual systems? The valid?
No, we're not.
Okay. Are these system failures company-wide to all of your clients? Is everybody experiencing these issues, or are these unique to Fairfield Harbor?
So we are in the process of transitioning the vast majority of our courses from all of our courses that were on Sage accounting system are transitioning over to Dynamics. Again, the challenge in this situation has to do with the mapping and the setup as we transitioned it over. Candidly, some of that had to do with turnover in the staff in the middle of doing this, and so now we're going backwards and making those corrections.
By Dynamics, I assume you mean Microsoft Dynamics?
That's correct.
It's a very generic program, so it has to be recreated for every time, for every course that's going to be managed, or the financial will be reported through it. It's like QuickBooks. Yeah, and
They don't come prepackaged with a chart of accounts in.
No. Prepackaged chart of accounts has to match ours, and the correct line items have to be grouped together so that it presents the correct reports, correct information for you.
That's correct.
When did the transition begin?
So, excuse me, the September financial statements was the first, were the first statements. And so the transition would have started, training with the staff and getting everything set up would have started in August and then started the process throughout the month of September. So when you look at our financial statements that have been presented this year, through August would have been through the SAGE reporting, which is what we've used for years here, and then September was the first statements produced through Dynamics.
How many of your golf courses or communities have a public golf course, a public restaurant, and a community? All three of those dynamics, because it makes it different if you're a club. If you're a club, you get subsidies for food. We're different. A public restaurant, public golf course with a membership concept, and a community. How many of your places have that?
I cannot give you, I would have to look to give you an exact number. I can tell you I work with at least one other that in North Florida that has similar, where we manage the golf and all of the amenities, and that's also public access.
And the reason I ask that, and this may help you in your transition, I know the board has had problems certainly communicating with us, reflective of the operations that we own. Each one is a separate entity.
Correct.
Treated that way from an accounting standpoint. So I'm hoping, not question, that as you make this transition, that our good people up here will be able to explain to us what the P&L for the restaurant is every month, what the P&L is for the golf course is every month, what the community P&L looks like, in three different entities. Basically, that's the way we operate. We're a holding company with a number of businesses, and marinas would be there. So we're hoping that those numbers will be easily transferred to these guys, and then they'll be able to show us how our communities are. It's not a question.
Yes, but understood what you're saying.
Is that dynamic, what he just described, is that part of the current plan for our community financial records?
Yeah.
In that format?
When we reference, when I reference the mapping, and that's what we're going through, that's what it refers to. So we're ensuring that all of the mapping within the different entities is correct, so that revenue coming in and expenditures and all of that is mapped to the correct entity, whether or not it's the golf course or the POA or.
Setting them up as separate companies or as entities, whatever. Do you have a project manager that's currently assigned to this project, or is it the responsibility of a accounting staff personnel to try to figure this out?
Yeah, we do have a project manager that's based in our Scottsdale office. That's where our corporate office is for Troon, is based out of Scottsdale. And so we do have his name's David Connell, who's kind of running point from a project management standpoint. So he'll be working with Fairfield until we work through and get everything set up. And there's been a lot of again, we're not making any excuses, and our focus is to allocate the resources in order to get everything set up correctly and get things where they need to be. And we have, standing meetings twice a week that includes our accounting team, as well as the on-site team that goes through and reviews and any open items. So there's a lot of effort being put towards it to ensure that it gets to where it needs to be.
Are his efforts specific to our issues with our books?
Yes.
Or is he needing to do this for all the entities that you oversee?
No, he's working specifically with Fairfield. Right.
Was the year-end accounting done yet by the CPA and Trump?
For
you
what?
know, like the budget meeting.
Have we done an audit for last year?
Well, more or less, because next month historically is budget season. So, you know, budget meeting. So are you guys prepare? Have you gotten everything from the CPA? You know, which I guess you could say would be an audit, and started taking in your budgets, like say from Wolf.
Well, there are about 5 or 6 things mixed in there.
Well, again, you know, usually, you know, the board gets input from committees, and the CPA comes in and gives you know, whether you guys passed or failed with this little plaque.
We have not done an audit for last year yet. No,
So you guys
that will be
are
booked.
essentially not to do the
You're
budget
talking,
meeting next month,
They're very prepared. They're gonna be fine. Don't worry.
okay?
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, and we're on the operating budget, so Lee discussed the capital budget. We're in the midst of putting together the operating budget for the facility as well. And we will get that prior to Christmas as well, sent to the board for review.
At which point, we're gonna smoosh together the capital and the operating. And then we'll know what our dues for next year are gonna be.
We can forward anything.
What a concept, huh?
Well, somebody threw at me, you know, I guess there's a rumor circulating that there's an increase, huge, substantial, you know, like $500.
I heard 4.
Who would say those things?
I've heard all kinds of rumors.
Whoa.
throw a number out there.
However, there is a, you know, cap, you know, on dues increases
And
by law.
any number you wanna guess, I've seen it. I don't know what it is yet.
That's the MSU system, makes stuff up.
The thing we are gonna have to do,
That's why I said it's a rumor.
the thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to collect
Amounts?
the emergency fund that we've deferred in the past. If you recall what's happened the last 2 years, we've issued a determination for the membership dues to be $1,500 and change. And then with your dues notice, you got a notice that the board was deferring that $200 until and unless there was an emergency. I've done 8 direct hits from hurricanes. You don't collect money after an emergency. It's that simple. That money needs to be in the bank, ready to distribute to contractors to help us through the aftermath of a storm. Period, end of discussion. You just, there is no way to collect an emergency assessment after a storm. Go to your house and pull all the appliances, the plugs out of the wall. Go to a neighborhood retailer and shut down his credit card facility. I mean, after Ian, I took $900 of personal cash and went off to the chainsaw dealer and bought it with personal cash till I could get refunded out of the office safe. That money has to be ready to go. So it's gonna be at least $200. Okay? In terms of what of the check you write. Know that's coming. How much more are we gonna need for operations? I can't begin to tell you, and I'm not hiding it. We just don't know right now. Okay? But in terms of the check you write, it's gonna be at least $200, and it's gonna be collecting that emergency deferral fund. It has to be here. It has to be ready to go.
Well, what about historically? I mean, I've been here 10 years and they've never collected it except for when they needed it.
In my opinion, they made a hell of a mistake.
Well, I mean, it's like your dues. The bill comes first and then you pay it. So why would the emergency contingency fund work any different? you know.
Because it is an
everybody can do
emergency
when you pile up,
contingency
You
fund.
know, there's 200 every year, and then you got 6 million sitting in an emergency fund.
Let's move on because
I just want to say there's a real tendency to want to beat Dan up over this. And to a certain extent, it's his baby, but he got on this train after it started rolling too. So, you know, say what you want.
It used to be 100, emergency fees, be 100. It was raised, I believe, in 2008.
let's move on. Go. Dan?
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
So anyhow, we're gonna recess now, and the board is gonna reconvene in the boardroom at 1 o'clock.
If you could put your chair away, that would be appreciated.